Good evening, dear viewers. Good evening, Camnet family. Welcome to National Matters. I'm your host today, standing on behalf of our great pastor Chiluba. My name is Luvinda Havazoka. Today's theme, very nice, very wonderful, and today's theme is something that everybody is talking about: decentralization, economic decentralization, and the rule of law in Zambia. Today, my guest is a very distinguished gentleman. I think most of you know him. Most of you said that he was the man of the moment in August. He comes from the sweetest town in Zambia. He's a member of parliament for Mazabuka, and now Honorable Minister responsible for local government and rural development. Honorable NKOMBO, GARRY NKOMBO, welcome to National Matters.
Thank you, Doc. Thank you very much, Camnet family. Just to thank you most sincerely for your kind words of description. And I'm always quick to say that the right nomenclature or address for an honorable member of parliament is honorable member of parliament for a certain constituency, and not honorable NKOMBO, because everyone gets it wrong. There's no honor in me. The honor is with the people who voted. So the correct way to address a member of parliament is by their constituency. So I'm happy to be called the honorable member for Mazabuka Central constituency, rather than being called honorable NKOMBO, because there's nothing of that sort.
I think the program is going to be very warm. This is the new dawn. We are learning a lot of things. Honorable, I think a lot of people know you, and a lot of people know you for your ability to stand up for what you think is right. I mean, we're just in first minute into the program, and you've corrected me that you're honorable member of parliament responsible for Mazabuka.
The great people.
The great people of Mazabuka. But there are some people that probably are seeing you for the first time. Some people that they rightly know you for your participation in politics, but they don't know who you are, where you were born, and where you went to school. So, who is GARRY NKOMBO?
Okay, thank you for the opportunity to start right afresh. Of course, in a life journey, people get to know you along the way. There are those who knew me from day one, and there are those who met me along the way. You and I met maybe under a decade ago, and here we are together sitting. My name is NKOMBO, GARRY NKOMBO. I'm born of the late Bernard Chilala NKOMBO and Beatrice Moyaba. Bernard Chilala NKOMBO, hailing from Chief Mwanachingola's chiefdom in NKOMBO village. And my mother, Beatrice Moyaba, from Hamandu chiefdom in Pemba district. And the two of them made it happen for me to be among the living. I'm a product of those. I'm born 56 years ago in NKOMBO village, and I'm born of a family of 13, and out of the 13 we lost two along the way, my brother and my sister, both of them older than I. And so I went to school I began school in west of Monze, a place called Mahiwa in Wengwa constituency. And when I was in grade 2 or thereabout, my dad and my mom shifted from Mahiwa to another school in the nearby areas of Monze, in a rural area called Chungu, or many people call it Katea. And then around 1973, my parents were moved to Livingstone, where my dad was a head teacher in a primary school, and my mom was a teacher too. And so I'm born of teachers, and this is the reason why I'm the chief of the odd blocks. I am a teacher by profession. And so I took the teaching profession from my parents, I went to several primary schools because my dad kept moving within Livingstone jurisdiction. I went to Koilat Primary School, which became Mulwani Primary School later on. I went to Namatama Primary School in Maramba. And then I went to Rusango Mission in Monze. The Rusango Mission school was one of the best schools those days. Yes, they used to compete only with St. Canisius and Namoyanga.
Yes.
Namoyanga was run by Americans, so was Rusango Mission was run by Americans, and Canisius was run by Catholics. Rusango, an SDA school, that's my religion by birth. And in 1983, I completed my secondary school at Rusango and was admitted at the University of Zambia, Great East Road campus, where I trained as a teacher. And so I graduated in 1988, and I went into the teaching profession. I was posted to go and work in Luansha, a place called Patamatu.
Don't tell me.
Yeah, Patamatu. And I was a small kid at that time, and I really never got to settle at Patamatu because even before I got there, I tried my best to move, and I then taught at Munali. My first assignment, teaching assignment, was at Munali Boys, and then it was just an all-boys school in 1988, 89. And you may be surprised that I didn't get his permission, but I want you to know, if you know the Chief Executive Officer now for RATSA, Mr. Gladwell Banda.
Gladwell Banda,
he was my student when he was in Form 3, 4, and 5. And then that's part of my pride because I produced somebody who I think is responsible. I didn't get his permission, so I'll stop right there. After teaching, I was discovered by another gentleman who's late now. His name is Thomas Malunga. May his soul rest in peace. He picked me up from a club where we used to play a game of squash. And he liked me and said to me, "Young man, what do you do?" I said, "I'm a teacher." And he says, "Oh, really? Would you like to shift camp to come into, commercial industry?" And at that point, I said, yes, I'd be very happy to move. I mean, to come to, he assured me I would have a flat, I would have a company car. And within that period, another man called Mark Mbewe, he's also late, he was a director at that time of National Archives. We still have National Archives. I'm a historian by profession and also a teacher of English. So Mark Mbewe also presented his case before me. He liked me, he offered me a job. And I went to work in the Department of National Archives as an archivist. And after weighing the odds and the evens, may Mark's soul rest in peace because he's also not among the living anymore, I then decided to go completely commercial. I went to work for Tom Malunga at a company called W.J. Blackman. W.J. Blackman was a loss adjusting firm in the insurance industry, and my office was at the Lusaka Zambia State Insurance Corporation building on the 4th floor. So I was reporting to Tom Malunga. I had another colleague called Stanley Sukoni, who was my immediate supervisor, and another white man called Hugh Carey. He was the man in charge of the entire operation. No sooner had I joined W.J. Blackman, it was bought by another company that was US-based, UK-based, I beg your pardon, called Robbins Davis. And no sooner had we settled with the company brand Robbins Davis, Société Générale de Surveillance, in short SGS, bought Robbins Davis, which headquarters was in London, and I became an employee of SGS. And at that point, a few talents were discovered in me. I rose through the ranks to becoming the manager responsible for warehousing and logistics, and at that point I was in charge of a new concept called collateral management and warehouse receipts, where emerging and established businesses would borrow money from banks, basically using stocks that were in trade. like maize. And so I did a lot of deals with Citibank, with swap spinning mills. Those who remember those good old days in Ndola, there was a big company called Swap Spinning Mills, Sakiza Spinning, and I was running all their warehouses against the loan facilities that they got from banks. And I became, you know, very entrenched in the warehouse management affair of, you know, the local companies. And along the way, I got involved with big conglomerates, international companies like Glencore Grain. You know, Glencore here mostly is known about metals, but Glencore, Glencore is the biggest trader in grain, and so I was assigned to work with the FRA, and I didn't get his permission at this point in time. That's how I met people like Chance Kabaye. I met with my colleague now. Oh yeah, yes. And you know, Ruben Mtolo, my colleague, Minister of Agriculture. I met a lot of people who were working in that area of grain trade. I worked with the GMB, you know, the Grain Marketing Board of Zimbabwe. I worked with Glencore, like I said. I worked with Louis Dreyfus. I worked with Exatrade. I worked with so many people, and I was the man sitting at that point. And along the way, my sister and I established a company called Real Time Cargo Services Limited. We established that company basically to provide auxiliary services to what was going on in the industry. And so because you know, Glencore and SGS did not want to commit into the affair of long leases on warehousing, they decided to outsource that to this Real-Time Cargo Services Limited, which was established by myself and my sister. And so we ran for a long time until, you know, business started dwindling, and then along the way circumstances changed. And cut the long story short, we had a difference because of the change of management within SGS. When a new manager came, they thought that I was conflicted in the manner that we established that company that was giving auxiliary services to SGS. And well, at the point when they thought I was conflicted, we sat and we agreed that I was actually not conflicted. They fired me. After they fired me in 1997, one Friday morning I got to work and I was given a letter of dismissal. I worked with Kingsley Chanda, I worked with Chileshe Kapwepwe, I worked with those were my colleagues. So they fired me.
Just here, you know.
I'm about to finish now. I'm about to finish now. So once I was fired, I went to the Industrial Relations Court to seek justice. And I want you to know, I put my judgment in a frame because after we went through everything, I was found unwanting. And I was compensated a lot of money, I must say. For those days, I was compensated a cash check of money I won't disclose. And that set the foundation of our separation with SGS, and I set up a company with my wife and a late friend of mine called Kebi Chilangi, a company called New Zambezi Security Limited. And traditionally, our family are traders. And so we were trading in services at New Zambezi Security, which basically became a shell because of our political affiliation. We couldn't get jobs anywhere. And then we also run a family business that deals with farms. Many people come and say, well, you're well dressed. I say, I am what I wear. And so I want, not that I want to...
That particular time in 1997, 98, which political party did you use?
I was not a politician, and I'll come to that. 97, yeah. I knew nothing about politics.
I think I met Mazoka. I came to Luanshya in 98.
I was not a politician at that time. I'll tell you how I became a politician because it's a very interesting story. In the year 1999, a brother of mine, older brother Ben Wycliffe Himanza Mwenga, died. He was the serving minister of local government and housing.
Yes.
And when, may his soul rest in peace. And when Benny died, a group of us, including the current president now, Mr. Hakainde Hichilema, my big friend, big older brother Nick Chizuka, may his soul rest in peace, Kebi Chilangi, may his soul rest in peace, and a few who are among the living, you know, Mr. Kenya Londe, Mr. Antuba, we all went to see Benny off, to go to his final resting place. And so after we finished the burial, we were now all trekking back. I got a call from my father who told me, have you left? We'd like you to come back because the chief, Mwana Chingwala and Chief Hanjalika, want to see you. So I said, well, we are already past Mazabuka town and we're heading home. And my dad says, look, it's important that you come back because they want to see you. So I then asked my friend, Mr. Londe, who I'm still with up to this moment, I said, let's drive back and hear what the old folks have to say. So when we got there, the chiefs told me, look, we've just had a funeral, we've buried Benny here, we're looking for a replacement, and we think it's going to be you. I said to myself, what does this entail? It means that you're going to have to come here because this is your home area, you're going to campaign. If you're lucky, you win, you become an MP. Oh, okay, fine. So at that time, my dad had left. He was a messenger. So I said, okay, so what does, at that time, I didn't even know, because I was so apolitical or non-political. Yes. I didn't even know there was a party called UPND, because I was busy doing my business at Real Time Cargo Services Limited, and my office was next to the current speaker's office, Nelly Muti, on the side, and on the top was the State Council, Sakwiba Scotta, just here at the roundabout of Addis Ababa Drive, where the complex of lawyers there. So I said to the chiefs, okay, I've heard you, and they said, you're Mr. Chuluba. President Chuluba has asked us to find somebody, and we've identified you. I said, okay, I'm humbled. So I got home, and I told that to my people, my relatives, my dad, and my dad then said to me, oh my God, did you agree? I said, what could I do? I mean, that's your brother. The chief is your brother. He's the one who came and says, no, but I am the chairman, the ward chairman of UPND in Mazabuka. So I said to him at that time, oh, you are the chairman of what? UPND. Oh, okay. What does that mean? He says, no, because I'm now conflicted. You are my son, you've been asked to run on another party, and I am the chairman of UPND in Nega ward. So I said to him, okay, then we have a catch-22 situation here. We've got to do some wide consultation. And so I got the support of my old elder man, Venon Mwanga. I got support of General Christon Tembo, who was the vice president. He's my brother-in-law, as a matter of fact, because his wife, Nelly, is my cousin. So we did some weighing and balancing, and eventually we accepted to run on MMD.
On MMD, yes. And
the result was not so good. I lost elections. I lost to Honorable Griffith NKOMBO, who was the very first ever MP for UPND. And so I suffered a defeat, having lost by 400 odd votes in that election. And lessons began from there.
400 votes?
Only 400 votes.
Very painful.
Well, it actually happened. So fast forward, I got involved with politics in that way. So Mr. Chuluba wanted to run for a third term, and then a group of people, including Vincent Malambo, my older brother, Walyangandu, the former Minister of Finance, Sebastian Kopulande, that was a breakaway group from MMD who were anti-third term. So I joined that group, and we formed the FDD, together with the nameless one. I don't want to mention her name here and now, just in case that's you talking, not me. I don't want to get a sharp reaction, but she was there, and we were all good together. So along the way, we had another election now in 2001.
Yes.
I was fielded in Mazabuka, and I suffered another defeat. At that point, I told myself, this is it. I'm not going to go. Politics is not my game. I'm going to stop. And I made an announcement to say, this is it. I've quit. People don't want me, and so I accept. In 2001, UPND had recorded 42 MPs.
Yes,
a
sir.
leap from 1 to 42.
Yes.
And February of 2001, I got a surprise, a very big surprise, that my chief, who's my father's my late father's brother, they're both late now, on a very wet February morning, early in the morning around 6, he told me, can you prepare breakfast? I'm coming to your house. My house was in Northmead. I said, okay, I'll be waiting for you. So I told my wife, can you prepare breakfast for 4 people? And then I got a call to say, we're at the filling station. We now have to find your house. There was no GPS then.
Yes.
So I had to walk out in the rain, and I found my chief with Mr. Anderson Mazoka in a small little bus, a Toyota Hiace. I said, what is this? So he said, I brought you a guest.
He was a very good mobilizer also.
No doubt about it. At that point, I felt very dwarfed. So we went into my humble home. My wife prepared some omelette. We ate. And Mr. Mazoka didn't waste time. He just told me, young man, I think you got potential. Would you really want to be an MP? Why aren't you supporting my party? At that point, I said, sir, you're pushing an open door. I've now joined UPND from my breakfast table. And he told me, okay, fine. I'm happy with that, and I'm happy to learn that your father here, the chief, is the one who ring-fenced you into MMD. But he's the one who's brought me here, and I'm glad that you have not even spent an hour or a minute arguing about your political affiliation. I want you to do me a favor. Go and collect all your supporters and make a public announcement to join UPND. And we did that. The very Sunday that followed, I was received by the late Gideon Hakalima, the chairman of the province then, and together with the MP. And Mr. Mazoka told me one thing. He said to me, as you join, I do not want you to antagonize the sitting MP, because he's a special man to us. If you want to be an MP, your time will surely come. And then, to cut the long story short again, is that we joined into UDA, the United Democratic Alliance, where, Mr. Mazoka, Ms. Nawakwi, and Tilenji Kaunda formed an alliance to remove MMD. And along the way, we lost Mr. Mazoka. And this is how the President of the Republic of Zambia now, Mr. Hakainde Hichilema, came onto the scene. And without disclosing much, we all rallied behind Mr. Hichilema to become our president. It was an election year. This is very interesting for you to learn, because many people may not understand the amount of confidence and trust that I have in the man. And I also suspect that he has a certain level of confidence in me. When he became president, UPND split. Some people got angry.
The Sakwiba's quarters left.
Absolutely. Even Winda, Tukemenda, our current SG.
He also left.
They broke off and went to form a ULP. And they later went and converged with PF. So Mr. Hichilema called me just towards the election and said to me, come home. Come to my house in Savo Road, somewhere here. I want you to come home. I have to chat with you. So I said, hey, what does the president want? So I went there, and he said to me, Gary, are you my friend? I said, yes, sir, I am your friend. Are you sure? I said, yes, I am your friend. He says, I have decided you are not running. Whatever you agreed with Mr. Mazoka, now the circumstances have changed. You can see I've become president. You guys have put me in the deep end, and our friends from the West are angry, including Mrs. Winner, the vice president,
yes.
the S12 friends. So I have been talking to your MP, and he's Lozi, by the way. And I've said to myself, he's going to continue. So whatever you agreed with Mr. Mazoka, if you are my friend, drop it. I have decided that Mr. NKOMBO will continue as an MP for Mazabuka.
How did you feel?
Well, it made sense. The whole thing made sense. Obviously, the inner feeling was that of deprivation. I felt, you know, I was ambitious. So I said to the boss then and the boss now, I said, okay, I take it. I'll internalize it. I agree. You are making sense. At that point, he called Mr. NKOMBO, who was somewhere close by, and said, come. And says, I've convinced this one. He's not running. So you are the sole candidate. Are we happy together? We're happy. So you galvanize all your support for your elder brother. Agreed, 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 agreed. Doc, we had to go through the process of interviews. I had withdrawn. I went home, I told my wife, look, the boss has said for the greater good of the party, I must stand down. And I've stood down. Okay, what about the T-shirts we printed? I said, well, you can't have the best of all worlds. This is the time for us to build this party, so I'm standing down. The interviews were going on for 2 days. The first day, Mr. NKOMBO didn't make an appearance because it was mandatory that he had to get an interview and come through the process as unopposed. On the final day, around 3 o'clock, again, Mr. Hichilema phoned me and said, we have a little problem here. I said, what is it, sir? You rush and get your interview in Monze. I said, but I've already disengaged. He says, go and get, if you're my friend, go and get an interview in Monze. Because we cannot find the MP. That is the truth of the matter. And there's no contest without sounding bad to him, or that is simply the truth. I never antagonized him because he got his fair chance by decree of the president. But that's water under the bridge. So I went, I got an interview, and I was fortunate. And ever since 2006, there's been no looking back. I became an MP. I have made my contribution as a member of parliament.
I wanted to ask you this question at the end.
Please go
Maybe
ahead.
let me keep it for the end.
No, I think I've explained to you how I
Fast
came
forward
onto the political scene.
2021.
So I became an MP in 2006, courtesy of the people of Mazbuka, in 2011, 2016, and now 2021. And I treasure them for that.
Fast forward 2021. From, I don't know how many elections UPND had gone through, 5, 6, 7?
In terms of
the party from
2001.
From 2001.
There are plenty.
Then you win elections. How was your feeling?
You mean at the point?
Yes, at the point.
Inside the Mulungushi?
There you were, I could see you were boiling, but now when they announced, when you felt that this one we are carrying the day, when they said UPND has won, you have won as, you know, MP and the president has won.
I won, and the president was declared about 3 or 4 days later. It was a painstaking moment. As you don't need to be told. I went into the Mulungushi Conference Center as a man who knew that this was the stroke that broke the camel's back. Are you understanding what I mean?
Yes.
I told myself and my colleagues who were with the Doreen Mwamba, Mama Kabuku, Brilliant Avenzo, who is now the PS for Technology, the young guy who, once we had been given a platform to intervene, the first time in the ECZ, he's the one who explained this, so he's a mathematician. I said that to us, this election was the stroke that broke the camel's back. And we had to be extremely careful, firm, polite, but strong. Because we were very sure, at least for me, I was extremely sure that we had a good product in Mr. Hichilema, and that missing that chance to make it 6 times would be the very end of all our political careers. And so we had to do what had to be done. But I always tell myself, there's nothing to feel heroic about, because if it was you on the spot in Mulungushi and you understood the history of bad governance, the history of human rights abuses, the history of how we have found ourselves in this situation economically, which translates into our social being today, you would have stood as the last gatekeeper, as the case may have been in my case, to say, this is it. We are not letting go. And so we followed the proceedings step by step by step. And if you want to be reminded, in one of my submissions, I said to the ECZ, we will not allow not even one vote to be taken away from our candidate. Those were my words. But I still want to say, anybody could have done what I did.
I was with Honorable Mundwira, just right here. He mentioned, I asked him a question, what made you think, what made you lose? He gave me some of the reasons.
I would like to hear.
What made you win the elections? What do you think?
Yeah, what made us win the elections are multiple of facets. And in no particular order. I would like you to know that first, it was the people of this country. That's what made us win. It was they had heard the clarion call. Over the period when PF was acting superstar, systematically, especially, Lusaka actually surprised me. Because I know Lusaka kept telling us, it was not clear what was going on in Lusaka. But everywhere we went, they just told us, we are waiting for the day. That's all they said. We are simply waiting for the day. Copperbelt sort of turned. You can see that Copperbelt has shifted. We're going to run 50-50. Lusaka was quiet. Why? Doc, it was quiet because when we got to a stage where what someone said in the past, I've forgotten the name, he said, when the state is wrong, it becomes dangerous to be right. Everyone was cowed down and beaten down to submission. To a point where even if you were just wearing a red shirt without any UPND emblem on it, they'll beat the living daylights out of you. You don't go into public places, they'll shut your lights out. Everybody was cowed down into terror and trauma. And so a silent message went out there and said, we are waiting for the day. And every dog has got its own day. So what made us win? The people of this country, to which we appreciate. To which we appreciate. Second, it is our own resilience. UPND had been in opposition for 23 years. It's no joke. It's not a mean achievement. 23 years of consistent banging on the people of this country to say, wake up, life can be better than this. Our leader, he, I think, takes the greater chunk of how we won and why we won. Our leader is one person who had gone through extreme trauma. You know that. You don't have to be told. Even a little kid knows that Mr. Hichilema has a strong spirit.
So I remember I was on the Copperbelt in 2017.
In April.
In April. He was arrested. And I think around 02:03, in the night, you went there.
No, it was 21 hours.
Yes, and I remember you talking to the press that I've been badly beaten.
Yeah.
Then he spent some time in the cells. I remember doing an article in his support. I think it was in the mast. It has just been converted from post to mast. And the heading was, do not fight those who cannot fight back. I think I was the first one to speak public. I remember my mother calling me. She drove from Wansha to Kitwe, telling me that I should keep quiet and things were going to be very bad for me.
It was dangerous
yeah,
for
but
you.
I went ahead and wrote that call.
Yeah.
The reason why I did that was because, he was not in government, and he had no one to protect. Of course, after that, the Catholics moved in, they spoke, and they what. Things have changed. Now we have the Patriotic Front in the opposition. You are in the ruling government. Davis Chama, 11 days, tomorrow is the 12th day, for a crime that happened 2015. Is it 16? I don't know very well. Don't you think that this is the time for us now to heal as a nation? You have this whole big mandate, you know, huge mandate, 1 million votes. You know, it has never happened in the history of this country. I don't think even Kaunda has done that against frogs. So you know that you have a huge mandate. Don't we just, you mentioned you were friends with Honorable Winda. I know even now you are friends with the Sakwivas, Kingsley Chanda, who was at ZRIA, you know, you are all friends. Is it time now to sit down and show people that let's live in unity?
Okay, just to bring you up to speed, retribution is not our direction. Because if retribution was our direction, Doc, you would have seen a lot of heads rolling. That you should know. And when you talk about the event of April 2017, when I was battered by the police, young police recruits, that was nothing. I mean, that was just physical torture and torment that happened. My torture happened when I was taken in for murder in Livingstone.
Oh, I remember
in 2013.
Period, yes.
I mean, I want you, through this platform, to understand that we have big chests, we also have forgiving hearts. And we have also said, we shall not prevail on the police. The law will take its own course. Doc, I was taken in for murder, and I was in the prison, Livingstone State Prison. Many people don't, maybe they forget this.
No, they've forgotten. I remember very well.
I was picked up on my birthday, man. That's when there was a by-election. There was a by-election. There was a fight. The youngsters were fighting. I was not there at the scene of the fight, but I was a campaign manager. President Lungu was the Minister of Home Affairs. President Sata was the president. My wife was here, and she just heard through the news to say, your husband has been arrested. What did he do? For killing someone. Heinous crime. I was taken into the cells at Livuyu police station. Stayed there for a week with a person who was not exactly, he had some mental challenge. The two of us in a dark cell for 7 days, failed to take me to the police, to the court.
You were put in a cell with a, let me say, a mentally challenged person.
Yes. Yes. Who, when I was taken in, the two of us, he said, Nanga, and I said, let me try and explain, until the policeman told me, look, that guy you are with there, we are keeping him not because he's caused an offense, but he's challenged. 7 days. Couldn't take me to court, no charge. On the 6th day, that's when they gave me a charge of murder and asked me, would you like to say something? I said, I have nothing to say, because I don't know what happened. I wasn't there. They took me to court. I want you to understand, because you asked me about Davis Chama.
Chama, sorry.
I don't know.
If I said Mwila.
Davis Chama. Yes. You feel that he's being mistreated from the way you asked me. He's a friend of mine. I've never had anything wrong with Davis Chama. We chat when we meet in Parliament. I was taken in, 7 days, brought before the magistrate, jointly charged with 7 other people for killing someone I never met before in my life. The magistrate told them, look, you can't charge 2 sets of people for the same crime. You must, and you, as a magistrate, I don't have the power to join anybody in this circumstance. This is a matter for the High Court. You know what happened? Back into the police cell. And I said to the magistrate, I've been injured. At the police station, they broke this wrist. This particular wrist here is fractured. I can't lift heavy things. I'm permanently disabled as a result of a beating by PF. The magistrate ordered them to take me to the hospital. I went to the hospital. I got treated. I was put in a plaster of Paris. I was tormented. Charity Katanga was the police commissioner at that time. I was bundled out of the hospital because there was too many people coming to visit me. Bundled out of the hospital at 2 a.m. in the night just to be thrown back into the dungeon, into the prison. When the paper came here to Lusaka for the DPP to determine whether there was a prima facie, I don't know what they found, but my suspicion is that they found no evidence. Meantime, they found the assailant, the actual assailant, who has since served his jail term. Up to today, dog, I have a nolle prosequi that is hanging around my neck. I want you to know that once this person who was found guilty of this offense served his term, he came out of prison, he came to me and said, I would like to apologize for putting you through this. I said, come to me, let's sit down, let's discuss. I want to know what happened. Because even in my head, I still have questions that are unanswered. He narrated to me the whole story, and I said to him, you are very honorable. You came to say this is what happened. I'd like to see your conviction certificate. He was convicted of manslaughter. I went to Mr. Given Luinda's office, and I can say this now. I went to his office, to the DPP, Lillian Kuzwayo. I wrote a letter. I said, now that somebody has served for this offense, I want an acquittal. The lady advised me at NPA, they said, look, for us to acquit you, we would have to reopen the case.
And you have to go through the same process.
You have to be rearrested. I said, that's what I want. Are you with me, Doc?
Yes, I'm with you.
I said, oh, rearresting. That's what I want. Rearrest me so that you give me an acquittal. What I'm looking for is an acquittal. It was quiet. 2 weeks later, I got a call out on a Friday at my house. This is in the last 2 years here.
I think I read it.
Yes, it was all over the news. They were looking for me.
Yes.
They were reopening an inquiry. Torture us. This country under PF required only the strong. I want you to know that. It only required the strong. I was at the president's house when my wife called me to say, what have you done wrong? The police are here with a call out. Should we receive it? I said, no. Let them take it to Jack Mwimbo's house or office. They took it to Jack Mwimbo's office. On Monday, we went to the Woodlands police. I was in a tracksuit, ready to be arrested. Just to be told, now that PF are out, I can say it clearly. They said, this is political. In this file, there's nothing to do with your case. That's how much abuse PF had. They abused us. Now, you asked me about Mr. Davis Chama. I sympathize with him. I want you to know that Mr. Hichilema was taken in for treason, one of the most heinous offenses. Treason.
He moved to Lilai, then from Lilai,
Osaka, that is okay. That is okay.
Then he used to be flown.
The worst part of it, Doc, Mr. Hichilema, and that's what sometimes makes me bleed inside. From this not Chikwa court, the magistrate's court, one day they put him in the vehicle that carries dogs, with dog shit in there. A dog kennel, that's what they pulled him out from. They said the police has no cars, so he will go to prison using this same car.
Nelson Mandela was in prison for 27 years. He came out and became a very good leader because he didn't come to, revenge or to behave in the same manner. There was reconciliation. And when Kaunda came out, they said he stole $7 billion kwacha, dollars. Nothing was found. Chiluba, Also billions of dollars. Only ties and shoes were found. Arabi Manawasa was saved by death. May he so rest in peace. Arabi, all sorts of accusations, immunity lifted. Sata saved by death. President Lungu, he lost the elections, he's alive, he's here. Some youth have petitioned the UPND to lift the immunity. What do you think about that? Is this going to maybe, is this the right thing to do, or this is the time to move on and unify them? You have the mandate.
The unification of the state can never be tied to lifting or putting a lid on anyone's immunity. Because what's right is right, what's wrong is wrong. Are we together?
Okay,
so I have personally, I have no feelings about what the youths are doing, but they are within the perfect right of their, legal provisions. There's a proviso in this book. This is the Constitution of Zambia. There is a proviso to lift a former president's immunity. It's not out of this world. There's a proviso. So you remember, Doc, that this is the same MP who invoked for the first time, I think, no, maybe I was the second. Let me not say this without thinking. Well, I was one of the very few who successfully filed in an impeachment motion of a president who's sitting.
2017.
I put 2018.
2018, yes.
I framed the motion to remove President Lungu, and the intention there, because we knew that there was a lot of problems that were occasioned by the leadership of President Lungu. We wanted to save him by removing him from the office constitutionally. It is me with Dr. Kambwili, before he flipped, who took that route to remove President Lungu. And you know what happened? The PF hoodlums wanted to block me from entering the parliament grounds. Now, it is a provision in the Constitution to impeach a sitting president as long as you have found the grounds to do so. In as far as I'm concerned, I was 100% sure that there was a breach of the Constitution. And unfortunately, the speaker at that time, who may have thought he would be there, Wamuyayaya, they just sat on my motion. They just sat on it for 3 to 4 years. They just didn't want to tolerate it.
One thing I've noticed, and this is very true, a reduction in hooliganism on the streets.
There is order.
And everywhere. But, when you are UPND and you're in the opposition, you feel the oppression, and the other people don't feel it. I lived in Europe for quite some time. When I would tell whites, you guys are racist, to harass us, they say they are not racist because they are white, they can't feel it. Mm-hmm. So now things have changed. The UPND is in government. PF feel that in some places there are still some overzealous cadres. Local government and rural development minister, intercity is under your watch, and all these others. That's where those people sit. Are we going to see the total end? I know it's very difficult to remove bad habits, but are we going to eliminate those to zero?
Thank you. Thank you very much. Old habits die hard. That promotion of the illegality where power was usurped from the legal owners of it. In this case, under PF, they usurped power from the police. The police became weak. Right or wrong?
You're right.
Where the PF was there, the police was subdued to submission. The PF they took over the role of local government. They became the ones collecting levies at the bus stops and at the markets against the provisions of the Markets and Bus Station Act, which is there. established by Parliament, assented to by the President. It became a no-go zone area for certain people who did not believe. So cadres became very strong. I think that we need to thank Mr. Hichilema. We need to thank him. Among many things that people may not appreciate, on that particular score alone, he scored the first. Because it was just by word of the pronunciation. There will be no new thugs. That's what he said in the last pronunciation. He asked UPND, do you want to be the new thugs in town? If you do, you're on your own. Now, I've got his back because I'm the minister responsible for local government. I am the one who is responsible to make sure that we put a lid on hooliganism in marketplaces, in bus stations, on the street, everywhere. It is our responsibility, and we are equal to the task. We will not tolerate anyone masquerading to be a UPND going to disturb the environment, the trading environment, the traveling environment, as the case was. That if you walk today, Doc, isn't it a wonder that even if anyone will complain, isn't it a wonder that today people in PF can walk freely undisturbed with their green T-shirts? And because of Mr. Hichilema's, democratic tenet, some mistaken people are now even saying he's weak. Read my lips. They've even started squeaking, making noise. These same PF who have taken us through this social malaise, economic malaise. They've taken us to the deep end, kuchishala. They are now chatting, yapping, hey, this and that. I think it's only fair.
But the president can, if you have lived in Zambia for so long, the president can never be weak. I don't think I've seen.
Well, it is true. But for anyone now, as the PF are saying that Mr. Hichilema is weak, really, he is a man who understands what the presidency of this country is. He understands it because it provides for such an untouchable human being that if you put a man with lesser faculties here, he can destroy the country and then destroy himself.
One thing people don't like is people...
Mr. Hichilema understands. I mean, look, which president can keep political cadres well known? They're still serving in this government. He respects the rule of law. He respects contracts. He respects... And so he has given people an opportunity to realign. He has given them that opportunity to realign, to tour the vision. You follow what I mean? When PF came into power, Doc, it was like to use an English word, like broad spectrum eradication of a disease. Whoever was not PF, red card out of the office, and the paging started. A ferocious, very, very vicious paging. It even then culminated into ethnic cleansing. You know the story. You don't have to be told. You know the story. If you were speaking a ha ha ha, he language like me, you became an endangered species. It took the strong to stand before PF and tell them, your days are numbered. And we did that. We did that very well.
For me, I think that both sides, I'm Tonga Lozi, and both sides, I think, are tribalist. That's why I think my option is people to move together. When,
Who's tribalist? Right.
Both parties.
No.
I'll give you an example. No. When in PF...
Do you know who my PS is? My permanent secretary. Do you know who he is?
Let me get to that. We are evolving.
Let's have
so when PF was in government and PF had loaded a lot of people from one region, I think you can see it.
Look
that
at
one
the
you
cabinet.
can, yes.
Doc, look at the cabinet.
The UPND was upset. Then,
we were not upset. We were not upset. Upset is
now
not
there's
the right
UPND. Of course, there's realignment. A lot of our surnames are coming into government. The PF is upset about that. But what is worrying is that they are upset about the Tongas, maybe the Zambezi, let me call them the Zambezi tribe. There's nothing bad because I come from there, I can say it. But when they appoint, for example, a member from the other group, they don't condemn. I don't want to mention names because...
I've given you a low-hanging example. I was given a PS. His name is Wisdom Walia. He's a controlling officer in my ministry. Walia can never be a Tonga. Can never be a Zambezi, whatever you want to say. Look at the cabinet. Let's just talk factually here. Look at the cabinet. And look
there are
at
more
the
members
than
Tongas, for example.
Well, if you really want to go...
No, I've counted. I think there are 7 members.
Wait, let me tell you so that you understand. In cabinet, when you exclude young Honorable Mwetwa, there's Jack Mwimbu, there is GARRY NKOMBO, there's Douglas Yakalima. Tell me who else.
But are you not disadvantaging? Are you not disadvantaging other Tongas that otherwise qualify to sit in cabinet?
That is the prerogative of the president in his balanced mind of getting the whole country balanced. You can't get a situation as it was in the Edgar Lungu government, where there were more than 10 people from one province. 10. And 0 from other provinces. My brother, sometimes you just have to put it as it is. You have to just say, now we have not even a semblance. We have an actual balancing act where Muchinga is represented. Northern, Eastern, Southern, Northwestern, Western, Central, Copperbelt. Everybody is welcome to the party. That's what's going on here.
2 issues here. UPND is not accepting defectors. And as a Zambian, I'll tell you that those public displays of people defecting in today's politics, those days they would make sense. I don't think, they serve a purpose. If a person wants to move to PF, to UPND or PF, they don't need to announce it. They just cross over. Maybe they'll tell the colleagues they were serving if they had positions, they have moved. Are we expecting to see defections? That is one, from the, organized by the ruling party. That's one. Then 2, do we expect maybe some national day where, all political leaders will come? Because the people at the lower rate don't know that you people call each other. They think that it's Honorable NKOMBO when they meet with Bowman, Lusambo. It is a day of long nights, but occasionally if both take whiskeys, they can even take whiskeys.
No, he doesn't drink. I take a sip from time to time. Look, the issue that you raise right now, in my own view, is really neither here nor there, because we have demonstrated beyond any doubt that we are an all-inclusive organization. Go inside State House, go into, Parliament, go anywhere. I mean, look at the Parliament, the legislative wing. The Speaker is Lozi, the Deputy is Tonga, the second Deputy is Easterner. Isn't that balanced?
It is.
I think we've done well. Where it comes to suturing and making the country seamless, we've done a fantastic job. We are now left with the issue of carrying the mantle and letting the country know exactly the state of our economy, because we won based on the fundamental or the platform of, I've already mentioned, our leader, the debt mountain that PF had accrued, mismanagement, human rights. Okay? We've dealt with the issue of human rights. People are free now. Free to talk, free to do anything, free to move. Look, Doc, do you know that we never were allowed to campaign? This 1 million votes you're talking about is a piece of an iceberg. If the playing field was leveled, we would have kicked the living daylights out of PF in terms of vote numbers if we were given freedom to campaign. Okay? They gagged the whole society. They used all sorts of tricks, including the Public Order Act, COVID. Today they can meet. No one is going to even worry about where people...
They said politicians change when they come into government.
We
they
shall
stop
not
listening.
change.
I called you, you answered the first... I didn't have to call back. You passed the test. I called Honorable Mwetwa. Immediately he picked up. He was available. Do Zambians expect you to be... I was sat with you when we were waiting to come live. Phone calls were coming. You were picking up. Is that going to be the same going forward?
Okay, good question, Doc, and thank you very much. I am the man who was charged with the responsibility of running what I would term the busiest ministry. That's what I think.
Yes, with decentralization coming now.
The busiest ministry. If you come to my office and ask anybody who comes there whether I have not given them personal attention, obviously it has eaten into my working time. My desk time has been consumed and I'm complaining. My brother, everybody who comes to that ministry is attended to, and attended to at least to the barest satisfaction. Just not so long ago, I had a visit from a group of representatives from people living with different abilities, and they said to us, we were surprised to get a call from your secretary that the minister says you can come to the meeting. They asked for a meeting. We see everyone, and from the top to the bottom, and we will not change that. We have to serve our people. That's what we asked for. We have to deal with our people. Let us fail to meet their aspirations, but we must hear them. And that is our state of mind. That's basically what we're talking about. That we will attend, no one will feel abandoned. Where we can't resolve their issues, we will concede and say, this is a little bit too hot to handle.
I think we shall take a 1 minute break, then see if we can pick 1 or 2 phone calls.
Africa is rising to a new dawn of integrity and accountability. Are you tired of being swindled or buying fake or illegal properties? Would you like to sell or buy genuine property? Would you like to list your property on both local and international market? Don't waste your time. Call the professionals, the SGK Properties, on +260 762 166 018. SGK Properties. Your business assurance is our priority.
Camnet TV is here to entertain, educate and inform you. Catch Rise and Thrive at 0730 hours every Saturday. Fresh and new praise and worship comes Monday to Friday at 8 hours. Kids need to be glued to the TV every weekday at 09 hours for their favorite cartoons. Off the pitch with the boys as they talk about sport on Saturdays at 0930 hours.
Remember, we are also here to entertain you with our different varieties of movies every weekday at 10 hours. Join Pastor Victoria and Moses Chilua with Healing Word Ministries International Church live sermon every Sunday at 10 hours.
Katamanda brings to you another journey of gospel ministers on Saturdays at 10:30 hours. The verdict comes to your screens at 17:45 hours. Join the Revival Harvest Church every Sunday at 18:30 hours.
Every Monday to Saturday, join us on the news desk at 12 hours as we bring to you the midday news, and at 19:30 hours Central African time every day for the main bulletin.
The ministry with Pastor Moses Chilua comes every Friday at 20:45 hours. On Mondays, it's your favorite National Matters at 20:45 hours.
Wednesday and Thursday, Pastor Victoria and Moses Chiluba are on Partnership of Greatness with different spiritual teachings at 20:45 hours.
And Frank on Camnet comes to your screen every Tuesday at 20:45 hours.
Camnet TV, not just another channel.
You are watching National Matters. My guest today is Honorable Member of Parliament for Mazabuka, Honorable GARRY NKOMBO.
Mr. GARRY.
Mr. GARRY NKOMBO. He doesn't like to be called Honorable. You can send us some texts. You can call us on the numbers that are on the screen now. Mr. NKOMBO. I know the speaker might summon me to Parliament for calling you Mr.
It's the correct way. It's the correct way. I insist. Mr. NKOMBO.
I mean, the UPND is in government. If people voted for you because they saw your plans, and if you fulfill them, you get another mandate, say 2026, with the same president. Then 2 terms lapses. You are one of the leading figures in the UPND. If you were given the chance to run for president, can you run to save the people of the Republic of Zambia as Republican president?
Well, I just told you how I became an MP. If you want me to sum it up, it's a calling. All right? And I'm not shy to say, if a calling comes, who am I? Who am I to say no? If a calling does come, and it's a genuine calling, who am I to say no? We are in the business of servitude, to serve people. And so if one is fortunate, they stand out, they get noticed, and people carry them, who are you to say no?
I think we have a caller. You say your name and where you're calling from?
Hello.
Good evening. Your name and where you're calling us from?
You're speaking to Harry calling from Ghana.
Yes, from Mondola.
Yes, good evening, Ghana.
Good evening.
Good evening, Honorable.
Good evening, Harrison. How are you doing?
Good, thank you, sir. No, I'm happy to see you with the record on this platform.
Thank you.
Good, thank you. The performance of it's not easy. Thank you so much, sir. My contribution is that Honorable NKOMBO is a very big chance for our country Zambia. And we expect the good things from you and the stupidity we know we can't really know. Much can be said, we all know what, and the plans that are going to be outside, and here we move together. We are deciding to that people, whether go to solve it, to see what we can do. But I'm giving to the new government to fulfill themselves so that they move forward and achieve what we want to achieve.
Thank you very much, Mr. Harrison.
That's my contribution on that. Thank you.
Thank you. I think he's saying that he's expectant and is wishing you good luck, and he hopes that you fulfill the promises that you made to the people of the Republic of Zambia.
Sure. Should I respond?
As we wait for the next caller, maybe there's this issue that people are talking about, CDF. My students today, when I told them I was coming to interview you, they said, you go and ask them that the government is introducing an electronic procurement system. So how are they going to help train the ward development committees or whoever is going to be doing the procurement at, constituency level when it comes to CDF projects?
Okay, Doc, we have had a challenge with cash transactions. Agreed? Yes or no?
Agreed.
Yeah. Look at the markets, look at the bus stop. Levying, using cash transactions has been a problem because of the leakages that happened. Accounting becomes a problem. So to go into a digital, we are in a digital world already. To practicalize a digital way of doing things is not wrong in itself, because it eliminates the issue of the face, that it's Mr. Lubinda Hawazoka, Dr. Hawazoka, therefore I must do him a favor. In the first world, do you know you can open a bank account without visiting the bank?
That is very, even now, yes.
You go online, you do everything online, and so the issue of, you know, human prerogative gets eliminated.
We have another caller. Tell us your name and where you're calling from. Yes, tell us your name and where you're calling from.
This is Joseph Chitanodak, calling you from Osaka.
Yes, go ahead with your contribution.
Hello?
Go ahead with your contribution.
Good evening, Mr. NKOMBO.
Hey Joe, how are you doing?
Can you reduce the volume from your TV because it's giving us feedback?
Okay.
Hi Joe, how are you?
Well, I just want to tell Mr. NKOMBO to be courageous as he's executing his duties. I'm a youth. Actually, I'm a student at the Commonwealth University. I am inspired by the way he's doing his thing. Just keep on doing your duties. So we are looking forward to see more in this new dawn government. Thank you.
Thank you very much. This is the mandate that I was talking about.
Well, what Joe is basically saying is that he's encouraging us. My take to Joe is that as we get along this journey together, there will be many people who now learn exactly the state of our country and what it is. Sometimes, if you get malaria, for instance, before you'd have to drink some quinine. And quinine is not the best test, but it's for good. If you don't drink quinine, you are likely to die. I want to put it to you, Joe, that where we are today, just towards the end of the PF, Dr. Musokotwane, our current finance minister, he asked his colleague then, the finance minister, on the date when the Euro bond was due for payment, in fact, the day before, he asked, tomorrow is the due date for payment of the debt, Euro bond, the first one. Are you prepared? Are you going to pay? The vice president, then Mrs. Winner, said yes. And because time keeps ticking and talking, the day came and there was default. I want to put it in the simplest possible way. When you default on Nkongole, when you owe somebody money and say, Irian Nkongole ma tupelenka wesha pa 30, then 30 comes and you don't pay. There are only two things there. Is that you don't respect your lender or you are unable to pay. In the case of PF, I think they didn't respect the holders of the bond and they were also unable to pay. It is the same coffers that we inherited. The same. coffers. So each time we say there's no money in the coffers, some charlatans, you know, the wannabes will come and say, no, how did Mr. Hichilema fly to Glasgow? A ticket to Glasgow is $2,000+ against the, you know, payment on interest, not the principal loan, of so much money because of over-contracting debt, gluttonous way of borrowing. They were just borrowing, and they were even borrowing services. Today, Doc, Joseph, I want you to know that I even doubt the authenticity of the local debt which PF are claiming we owe our local people, because they were just dishing out contracts. We have to make a determination of how authentic and genuine these Congolese they claim we owe. And I want you to know, Joe, that we are in for a fight to get it right. We came in on the platform that PF had overborrowed, had overprocured, had done so many wrong things. To reverse those things does not take a sugar coat. It's bitter.
We had over 100 billion worth of feeder roads. Is that true? My
brother, I want you to know that, and I'm not ashamed to say this, because the truth has no disguise. The bulk of the feeder roads, which are under my ambit, I put a statement in Parliament, a ministerial statement, which was categoric. And for those of you who missed what I said, I'll plug out one paragraph of what I said. I said they had overprocured by about 12.6 billion kwacha, where a budget is 200-300 million. You go and procure, well, to be fair with them, I would say 200 million kwacha per annum for 4 years. It's 800, right?
Yes.
On average, 4 years, because I did a computation of a 4-year period under President Lungu. That's a fact. And there's no contest to what I'm saying. Then you budget 800 million, you go and contract 12.9 billion, 13 billion kwacha. Where is the money going to come from? Where is that money going to come from? And then when you look deep inside, that portfolio of debt, it's been dished out to like-minded people, PF people only.
How are we going to pay that money?
Hold on. Well, we've got to first do an audit. Because in that 12 billion kwacha, there are some genuine contractors. As people, you know, in Tonga, we say, we have a saying, which I'll translate in English, that which means is that this fruit called katanga, if you mix it with among good matangas, it will also make the good matangas taste bad. Just like if you are chewing groundnuts and you chew one rotten one, you spit everything. We have a big task to split, to sort the good, the bad, and the ugly.
How fast? And because the contractors, the genuine ones.
Yeah, but from face value, Doc, from face value, I haven't got what it takes to look at your face and say, you're a good contractor. One thing I know for a fact, and don't let anyone get deceived here. Please, do not let anyone get deceived here. We don't joke when it comes to this. There are people who got road contracts who don't even have a wheelbarrow. How do you give a contract to someone who does not have implements to execute a duty? I have a whole grocery of peer people who think they are very smart. They think they are clever. But it's just about time. Time will tell. Time will tell. And we are not making noise about it because we don't want to have collateral to injure even the innocent. We want to do this in a very careful, systematic manner where once we finish the audit, we take the contracts that were signed and no job has been done out.
Where was Auditor General's office the last 10 years?
My dear friend, Doc, if you want to jump out of your skin and shock here, I can tell you, I can tell it all to you. Do you know we have a ZPPA Act which guides how you must procure services and goods?
Exactly, it's there, yes.
It's there. Ask me if it was applied in the issuance of road contracts. Ask me. I'm here. Ask me, and some people must not think, oh no, they are weak, they will be compromised. There will be no compromise. To tell you the truth, we are going to dig into the end of this, and the story will be known one day by the Zambians. They will know it, and they will know it for the truth. The truth is going to come out. And it's just a matter of time. Time will tell. People may think they're clever, we're still in the old ways of doing things where you casually chat and award people contracts at a pub. No. Times have now changed. And we are dead serious about this. There's no, the system has changed. Do you want me to tell you? Of the many 100 plus contractors, Doc, those who, in inverted commas, legitimately got road contracts, only a handful have presented themselves to my office. Why? Why is because the bulk of them are in PF.
Maybe one option is to ask them to come. If they don't come, you cancel the contract.
Not that PF are not entitled to contracts. They are. They are entitled to contracts like any other Zambian. All right? But the whole issue of abusing and molesting a system, getting money, they were getting 20%, 10%, and no work done. What they call IPCs. You sign an interim payment, you get money, and you don't do no work. That is criminal.
What of those UPND supporters that are in bars right now saying they are connected and they're trying to...
That is their own story. I mean, look, in my own personal story is that I have no time for those people. And even they know. Don't forget, they didn't call me Mazembe for nothing.
I almost called you the bulldozer when we began. Then I knew that there was a bulldozer.
They didn't call me Mazembe for nothing. And for all the fight that we put to get where we are not going to get compromised by anybody. Not any single person. The least people can do is to bring back what they took if they did not do the work. Then we'll be good together. We'll be buddies. If you know, I'll take this platform to say it, and I'm saying it now as a Minister of Local Government and Rural Development. If you took money and you have not done work, first know that there's no more money to continue where we stopped because there was no money that is left.
We have a caller. Let's hope it's a contractor.
Hello?
Hello, good evening. Your name and where are you calling from?
Good evening. My name is Timothy, calling you from Ndona.
Hi, Tim.
Yes, Timothy.
Hi, Honorable. Good evening.
Good evening, Tim. How are you doing, man?
I'm doing well, and just first of all, I'd like you to know that one of my role models out there.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Yes, so I've been following the story, and as a young man who really was looking forward to a bright future, obviously, with the coming in of the new government. My concern is that we've seen quite a number of stories with regards to misappropriation of funds around the country, which is vividly quite going to see. But at what pace is your government working to see that those people who are being involved in such kind of issues are going to pay back to the country? Because as young people, we are depending on that money to come into circulation, to boost our economy, obviously to come to schools. We've seen recently people protesting with regards to meal allowances and whatnot. So it's very alarming and it's concerning for young people that people who may have gotten that money illegally, they've been given more like a leeway or a chance to more like maneuver or hide that money. So at what phase are you working at so that at least we can see that those people pay back that money and the right people, who are the people of Zambia, benefit?
Thank you very much, my friend.
Okay, Tim, I want you to know that The country is now governed by laws rather than by men. And slow as the wheels of justice may be, the wheels of justice are surely turning. This is the beauty about law. You asked me about Davis Chama. You know, the wheels of justice, they continue just, the traction is there. It may not be quick, because if you do it in a haste, you could make a mistake. Brother man, when people rush the law, you will find that people get convicted even if they're innocent. So the law, the system of law management, yakutekanya, you calm down. You don't go into law management with a vendetta, with a chifukushi. You don't go to apply the law, you don't even make the laws under duress or, with a view to fix somebody, because it will fix you yourself. So law is not supposed to be emotional. Law is supposed to be colorless. It's supposed to know no face. And so the issue about when are these culprits going to be brought to book by government? Look, the law, it's going to chart its own course. It will find them. That's why they call it the long winding arm of the law. If you want to take over the law, you may injure yourself in the process. The whole point is that a prima facie case must be established by the purported wrongdoers. Because part of the justice system, the tenets of justice is, in fact, the fundamental is that there's a presumption of innocence until one is proven guilty. So even here where I am, if someone alleges that I've done something wrong, that's why there's police bond, there's bail, you have to go through the mill called a trial system for you to be either convicted or acquitted. And so these ones who are making noise, Tim, the long winding arm of the law will find them. But as I finish answering you, Tim, I want a takeaway for you, Doc, that ever since PF lost the position of government, have you continued seeing young boys and girls who are jobless parading money, making mattresses out of cash? The answer is no.
Probably they are scared that the arm of the law will follow them.
Not probably. Because, money must be worked for.
Exactly.
You follow what I mean? Some guy, 2 years ago, I was doing a stock take on my cattle at home, at my house, and I stood with my tally sheet and I was tallying, and somebody started making fun of me to say, alependa NKOMBO. Come on. We don't have a situation that we had in the past government there, where people were bathing in money. And you ask them, where do you work? Nowhere. Where was that money coming from? I want you to know. I suspect, and I don't mince my words myself, I suspect very strongly these same feeder roads that you are talking about.
$1 roads, killing people almost every week.
True.
Are we going to have, is government going to work on it?
I'll speak loosely. The government has a responsibility to work on the roads, all the roads in the country, but the government will do the roads at the right price, the right contract price. That's what's going to happen.
Indeni, is it up for sale?
Again, I'll speak loosely. I, as a member of parliament in the opposition, go into the Hansard and listen to my debates, where I debated before that at the expense of 300 employees. At that time, Indeni had 300 employees. I said, if I were the ones in charge of Indeni, I would flog it. Meaning, simple terms, I would sell it. Because in its current form, it's not making economic sense. But I'm not making a policy statement because that is the department for another minister.
Person, yes.
But I'm just talking to you about what I understand about Indeni. Indeni, Doc, I was a chairman for energy in my time as an opposition for 6 good old years. So I understand Indeni operations very well. Indeni is not a refinery.
It's just a separator.
Separator.
Yes.
It's a separator. And for Indeni to make sense, we need to invest into a 2.5 billion hydrocracker. That's what it's called. A hydrocracker is a component that breaks down crude oil all the way from its primary state into LPG, diesel, low sulfur, petrol, kerosene, and so on and so on, and bitumen, 6 products. What we have there at Indeni is that a ship will discharge commingled feedstock. Okay? Commingled feedstock. It will be piped all the way. There's a lot of leakages along the pipe. It will come to Ndola. It will be separated. And someone has said, "Now, what a refinery." It's not a refinery. Along the way into the future, when Zambia has become buoyant again economically, when we have got what it takes to say we have now created a foundation where we are growing at, the GDP is growing at a percentage above 7, going up, then we are going to see a spiral effect on people's comfort. At that point, maybe we can invest into a refinery, which
Some
will
PSs
refine crude oil and not commingled feed.
Some PSs have gone. Those that have remained don't know whether they'll be fired or they won't be fired. The president's method is to being methodical while he's wearing white gloves.
They like the white gloves.
So people are, you know, they are jittery. I understand them. District commissioners, they are all gone. Town clerks, they fall under you.
No, they don't fall under me. They fall under cabinet. They fall under cabinet.
Under cabinet, but they're under your ministry.
The DCs,
the councils. Not the DCs,
the council secretary,
the town clerks,
yes.
and yes.
Yeah, and they're still they're all enjoying peace. Yeah, I am the one who's responsible for the town clerks and the council secretaries, and you can ask them if anybody has disturbed their peace. All we've said to them all is that you must first internalize and accept that governments have changed.
But they helped you win elections. Not that they helped you win, but they were presiding over the elections.
No. Okay, yes, you're right. They were presiding over elections. The people who helped us win elections was that 1.8 million
yes.
that you're talking about. That was the cascading point. Those are the ones who made the minister here. They're the ones who made the president, and we appreciate it. So the town clerks, well, they're there. They're on pension, and they're enjoying an easy time. You can ask any one of them.
Yes,
if
I've seen.
Anyone is victimizing.
Unlike the PSS, they are busy. They're issuing memos. I think local government is functioning.
We're trying our best. We're trying the best that we can.
Let's see if we have some messages. Maybe we can read one or two. Good evening, Dr. and Honorable NKOMBO. My name is Cynthia, and I'm in Canada. Congratulations on the UPND win and on your appointment as minister. I'd like to know what the ramifications of illegal employment and service delivery contracts that were given to people and companies where due process was not followed are. Are these going to be legalized, or are they going to be nullified? If they are nullified, what is the plan to recover funds that have been embezzled? Thank you. I hope this is not one of the people just trying to hide from a person in Canada. I think that was the only message that we had.
Fine. You know, if you talk about the ministry that I run, the issue of employment was charged to the Local Government Service Commission, which I established in the Constitution of the Republic. The PF manifesto, Cynthia, has been extremely clear. They said they were going to only give positions of influence to PF cadres only. That is against the Constitution, because every Zambian deserves a job. Every Zambian deserves a job. So you want to call them illegal employments? I don't know. But what I know, which we stopped, is that at the time when government was changing, a lot of commissions that were run by PF like-minded people started doing quick promotions, and you know, there was a circular which asked them to stop. No movements of any because they were hedging, putting themselves in positions of influence. That is an example of a shoddy type of behavior. You know, and so we stopped them and said, look, we can't do so. We are reversing those things that were done without due consideration, those that are suspicious promotions, those are going to be turned back right around. The issue about embezzlement of funds, I mean, look, I've said it already, that everyone must go through the judicial system. They must be proven guilty. For now, they're innocent until they're proven guilty. And once they are proven guilty, fair and square. But the president has been very magnanimous. The president has been magnanimous because he has said, if you know, for instance, that you have gotten paid and you have not delivered the service, just be magnanimous yourself and come and say, I would like to pay back because this was work in progress. I have not done my work, so here's money. If you got money and you didn't supply something, just bring it back and there will be no consequence to that. Maybe as we get along, when we are now satisfied that these people don't want to cooperate, we could then request the president that maybe you should consider to bring a truth commission.
Maybe you need
because a truth commission also can help a lot of things because it actually compels you. If you're called in before the commission,
you need to come.
You need to come. It's a peanut. But now it has been left loose. That's why they've got it all wrong, that we have a weak president. Watch the space.
Bizwe Mutale, aspiring candidate for Patriotic Front. I was talking to him today, you know, to find out his motives, and he has called for lifestyle audits.
He's right. We called it. We called it.
Are you going to, not for people that are saving, but for the former PF members? I think he has a lot of lists.
For us, Dr. Hawazoka, we have been on record. Even now, come and audit me. We have been on record. If you want to go back just a few months, during Vice President's question time, we asked Mrs. Winner, we want a lifestyle audit for all of us. You have to have a trail who you are, where you are coming from, and what you want to be in the future. It is normal. So if Mr. Mutale has called for an audit, it's fair.
Are we going to see it? I know that's not your...
Well, what we are doing now, let me just explain to you. Because we are trying the best we can to adhere to the regulations that are binding to people who are in government. One of the regulations, in fact, it's not a regulation, it is a rule that every year, during Kenneth Kaunda's time, it was called Leadership Code. Now we have got a declaration of assets and liabilities. There's a form that MPs must fill in, ministers must fill in, to declare what you have in terms of assets and liabilities, and submit it in the court, the High Court, the Supreme Court, as a matter of fact. My submission has been to the Chief Justice, the late Mambilima. Okay? You also, on that form, are compelled to make a declaration of an interest if you are doing business with government. I can assure you, I can bet my bottom kwacha that it was not happening in the last 10 years. Because when I made a statement about the roads, I said, before you guys ask me any questions, I want you to declare an interest if you are also a road contractor. Do you know who asked me a question? Only one person who also made a declaration, which I thought was an onerous thing, Honorable Mr. Brian Mundubile, who is a non-contractor. He's a non-contractor, so he can't afford time. But he has been commingled with people of very questionable character.
So maybe you need to start calling out the persons individually rather than, you know, mentioning the whole PF.
They claim that they are owed money. They will come. When they want the money, I'm not going to spend my time chasing people around. They will come.
Which party do you think now is a threat to the European government?
None.
None. Your last remarks.
Well, let me thank the management of Camnet for giving me this opportunity to come. It's my first time here, I enjoyed my time with you. I wish, you know, time was not an enemy, but here we are. It's already 10:30. I enjoyed my conversation with you, and I hope to see you again another time, and God bless Zambia.
Thank you very much for coming, Honorable. I know you are not going to like this, but when I started mentioning about, we were just discussing with him about how he was arrested, he became emotional. And I think I'm becoming an expert. I had to run away from that.
I can only apologize.
I want to apologize for that myself.
I want to apologize too, but you know, when you think about the ugly past, when you are reminded about the ugly past, sometimes you lose your traction. But if I came out emotional, I'm only human. I'm sorry about it.
A lot of people have spoken to say what they want to see is you politicians, you PND, PF, you come together, they see you play football, they see you drink, enjoy, maybe at church together, because I think the country is tired of the insults on Facebook, you know, the fighting. I think it's a time to build the country.
Our arms are open. Our arms are open.
Thank you very much. We hope to have you in the studio very soon, and thank you for coming.
My pleasure.
You are the second person I've interviewed in my life.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay.